Oh, hi, Dane.
Oh, hey, buddy.
How's it going, buddy?
It's
Hanging.
it's going.
It's
It is
going. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Failure Made Monsters. Dane, it's great to see you. I am Santino the Misfit, and this is my co-host, cohort, and compatriot.
Dane Alexander, but you can call me the Great for short, though. Sorry, I was.
Indeed, you can. I'm wiggling with you. This is the show where we touch on all the topics.
All of them.
Porn stars to politics to profits from Bitcoin.
Ooh, sounds like somebody's got some on his mind.
I don't know. Probably maybe we'll just talk about potatoes instead, specifically gendered ones. We'll get into it. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a whole thing, guys. But we also have guests. We have guests tonight. Can you believe that people are willing to come on this show and talk to us? Us, Dane, of all people. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. Crazy people. But I'm very excited. We have a very, very long-time friend of mine, very, very dear friend of mine, Mr. Andrew Plotkin, and then
Plotty McPlotterson,
and another friend and young lady that I've known for a bit now, who is also a rare disease advocate. She's here to talk about her experiences with Nord and her own battle with rare diseases. That's Jen Roman. So she'll be our first guest up tonight for a little quick segment where we're gonna illuminate you. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna illuminate you. If you are watching this show and you're here for Jen and you've never seen the show before, earmuffs for all the kids and sensitive ones in the room.
Yeah.
I'm saying that now. And if you're here for Plotkin, fucking welcome. Let's cue the music.
Represent the lobby, not the people. 4 years in a sequel. The bottom line is the bottom line. They represent the full, not the hungry. The NASDAQ, not the country. The bottom line is the bottom line. They represent the greedy, not the needy and seedy backroom dealings. The bottom line is the bottom line.
Billions and billions and billions and billions.
Every fucking time.
Yo,
Every
P.S.
time. It's just going to be the thing until we change it.
You want to talk about billions and billions? Did you know that during a typical MLB season, approximately 200,000 baseballs are used? Snapple.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that when the original Mr. Potato Head came out in 1952, it only came with accessories and was used on an actual potato?
Wait, what? Oh, there was no body?
There was no body, no shell.
That's
they added
dumb.
that later. So you want to come up with mind-blowing facts.
I didn't know that.
You.
Maybe like a little Mr. Potato Head dick.
Accessorize the spud, sir. The spud.
We're gonna give you a dick and balls for your potato.
Essentially, and then in 70 years from now, everyone's gonna lose their shit because you renamed the brand, not the characters, the brand. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I don't know what they actually did. I know you mentioned it, but I don't know what changed.
Nothing of real consequence to anybody. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, Hasbro, the company that owns Mr. Potato Head and Mrs. Potato Head and the whole Potato Head family, decided a while back that they were going to rename the overarching brand of Mr. Potato Head, which was the original product, to just Potato Head. Because if you paid attention to potato heads, they're like Funko Pops, sort of like there's a Mr. Potato Head, there's a Mrs. Potato Head, but there's also Marvel potato heads, like an Iron Man potato head. And whatnot. So the Mr. Potato Head thing was just dropping it and making it gender neutral because it's a fucking brand. It's not Mr. Funko Pop. You know what I mean? Like it could be, but they just decided, hey, this makes more sense. And to just be, like everyone else, more gender inclusive, which I think is fantastic. And then, of course, you have people like Matt Gaetz saying, what do I have here? Quote, Mr. Potato Head now apparently has to go by Potato X. And the whole point of Mr. Potato Head is that you can move the parts around. He was America's first transgender doll, and even he got canceled.
Shut the fuck up. What?
Quote from Matt Gaetz. That's a bunch of people voted for that motherfucker. He holds office.
Stupid. That's petty.
That's where we're at in the United States of America. First off, no one canceled nobody. That's not how this went down. The company made a conscious decision. Speaking of companies making conscious decisions, second off, Dr. Seuss did not get canceled. A handful of books got pulled from publication out of the myriad of books that Dr. Seuss has available many, many decades after the fact because they included incredibly racist stereotypes within the
Did you see them?
I saw the Asian one. I was like, damn.
Dude. So the Asian one, and then there was like a one where it was a picture of like people who were supposed to be in Africa, and like the I guess the African tribal people were portrayed in like this very, it's like you can't even confuse it and be like, oh no, that's not what it meant.
Yeah.
It was clearly some racist shit. But you know, again, it
or
was
just at least a harsh stereotype,
right,
in of what people expected, not a real one, but just based
Right.
on. And this is the thing: people are like, "Oh, well, it's just these were the stereotypes at the time, and this and that,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah." Where do you think they came from? They were portrayed by the media like this, like the games and shit that people are playing here with this nonsense. And third off, Mr. Dane Alexander the Great.
Yes.
The third thing that I'm just that people are jumping on now too is that apparently Disney is canceling a bunch of beloved cartoons. Did you hear about that one?
No.
Yeah.
Which one?
So let's say Disney pulled Peter Pan, Dumbo, Aristocats, among others.
Dumbo?
Hold on, but wait. Here's what actually happened. So see how it sounds really sinister when you say it like that.
Yeah.
Here's what actually happened, right? They removed them from being accessible from children's profiles on Disney Plus. That's what they did. So if you're an adult and you have access to Disney Plus, you still have access with a disclaimer at the beginning of these cartoons, because if you watch some of them and you look at the Crows, and the manager's name was Jim Crow,
bro. Those hold on.
In one of these fucking cartoons, and the Asian cat, the Siamese cat in
we are Siamese, if you please.
Playing piano with the fucking chopsticks and shit and all that. Like, all right, I get it.
Here's the thing.
Fine now.
The fact that they actually acknowledge that, big up fucking Disney. And here's why: every black person that came out around that era where Dumbo was like a movie, everybody knew the Crows were fucking racist as shit. Like it's always been like a subtly running fucking commentary. Like, those Crows are racist as fuck. Like that's some fucked up shit.
It's
like,
not even subtle.
So when you said that, like, now here's the thing. But wait, I have a personal stake in this because I wonder why. First movie I remember watching as a teeny tiny person.
Dang, there's children watching. Easy.
Yo. First movie I ever remember watching and first movie I ever remember crying watching was Dumbo, right? Because when his mom is holding the trunks and shit, and
I'm like, Bambi, Never Ending Story.
So when you said that, I was like, no, you can't fuck with Dumbo. But I'm like, wait a minute, yeah, you can, because that's the thing. During that time, like a lot of shit, Looney Tunes. I was talking about it last week, where I'm like, a lot of this shit is kind of like nowadays that shit shouldn't really fly. So kudos to him for like going back and fucking trying to rectify.
I agree. And it's not like, again, this whole it's. Not to get overly political about this, because we do have a problem with cancel culture on both sides.
Yeah,
that is 1,000% true.
Sir.
I don't even know if I want to get into it this week. Yeah, but because like there's a lot of valid points on a lot. There's nuance to it, right? There's fucking nuance to it, and this is what I'm saying. So overall, my point here is people are oversimplifying complicated situations and then trying to spin them to further fuel a false narrative for political reasons. 1,000%, like Matt Gaetz, like everyone who talked at CPAC and Ted Cruz and these motherfuckers who just kind of want to, make the left seem like we're coming after all of your treasured possessions and all your nostalgia. And the next thing you know, Tommy Pickles is going to be fucking shot for some reason we can't think of yet. Like, it's just where we're at, right? They're trying to make it seem like we're coming after your shit. We're going to let all the immigrants in and take your jobs. We're going to come and take all your guns. We're going to bankrupt the entire country. We're going to make everything cost too much so you can't go out and like, I don't know, buy porn DVDs. Is that what people do these days? The fuck? I don't know what everyone's so bent out of shape about raising the fucking minimum wage for, because no one can go anywhere.
Like, how has it not been? I was just talking to the homie Rock yesterday, like, about that. Like, how has it not been raised yet? You know how much inflation has happened since like minimum wage
was it 2007, 2009? It has not gone up anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's so crazy. Can't nobody live off that shit.
No, but the cost of living keeps going up, and people make the argument that well, maybe it shouldn't be like a fixed static figure federally, right? So $15, it shouldn't be across the whole country, because obviously you can't live on $15 an hour and live in like Manhattan or some of these bigger cities and stuff where they think that all the legislation is coming from. Just bullshit. Even Florida voted heavily in favor of a $15 minimum wage.
But $15 minimum wage
Republican.
But that would just be the bar, right? That wouldn't be like that's
No,
what
that'd
they
be the
have
bare,
to.
that'd be the minimum.
Yeah.
The
So
literal minimum wage. Yeah.
Right,
The only
right.
exceptions, I guess, being unless they modified, I guess I know like servers and stuff, people working in the restaurant industry have a different figure in some cases because they get tips. I don't know.
Hold
exactly
the fuck
how that
up.
works.
Hold up. I'm sorry. I got to do this because somebody just jumped in the chat and Tim Caro is in the fucking chat right now and he said, "What is minimum wage, y'all?" And the reason he said such a dickhead comment, one, Tim Caro, I've known him since fucking high school, and he's in Chicago, and that's what up, Tim? What up, motherfucker? Sorry, it just kind of knocked me off a little. I've
You
killed
good?
a little bit.
You good? You're gonna be home tomorrow.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Flying out to Chicago to shoot a music video.
I am flying out to Chicago to shoot a music video. Hey,
Shout out to everyone in Chicago.
Everyone in Chicago watching. Yes,
weekend.
Right.
But yeah, dude, it's fucking. I don't know if you saw.
Oh my God.
They voted on the minimum wage today as part of the shit trying to get pushed through the Senate that already made it through the House, and it's so. Don't get me wrong, like all Republicans voted against it.
So it's probably going to get kicked out at the Senate then.
It already got voted down. But here's the thing that really got me is 8 Democrats voted against as well.
Of course.
8 fucking Democrats. So I'm like, maybe they're upset with the vehicle that this is, lodged in with other shit, which happens all the time in Congress. But it's just like one of those, to me, it's like a no-brainer thing, right? Isn't this like the most actually, funny, I just said that. One of the 8, and I didn't even mean to do that. One of the 8 Democrats who voted it down was, what was her name? Cinema. Kristen Cinema, senator from Arizona. I know.
Cinema. That was nice.
Cinema.
Oh, your brain actually get it.
Everything the land touches. Sorry, the land touches. Cinema. No, she voted down against it, even though she literally called it in a tweet, like, I don't know if it was 10 years ago or 7 years ago, some shit, but there's like a tweet going around of her saying voting for a minimum wage of like $15 years ago is a no-brainer. And then she voted against it and walked up onto the Senate chamber floor and did it like in her Lululemon bag and her little skirt and shit, whatever the fuck, and just did one of these, and then like curtsied and walked the fuck out. Like, I have no idea. I have no idea what the fuck that was about. But
I say everybody fucking strike.
It's dude. You know what? It's the one thing I will always give Republicans credit for a couple of things. One is being a full-on like unified team 99% of the time. I was gonna say something else and I held my
Wait, do you watch It's Always, you've never seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, have you?
No. I've seen a handful of episodes. But...
There's this one where Charlie's like, they were like trying to tell him what to say he was to get through a blind date, and they're like, you're a philanthropist, and he's like, yeah, I'm a full-on rapist.
I've seen that.
He's like, what? Yeah, I'm a
full-on rapist.
Sorry, I had to do that.
That's like the Celebrity Jeopardy joke. I'll take the rapist for $500. That's therapist.
Sorry, I need to do that. That was juvenile. I don't care. Whatever.
You're good. Here we are. Rape jokes. Jen, I bet you can't wait to come on. Speaking of people getting canceled, everybody.
Everywhere.
The second thing I will say too, the GOP does and has done very well for a long time is messaging. They just seem to get their messaging out. Everyone sticks to a talking point. You hear the same people saying the same shit across the media, across the House, the Senate, and if hell forbid they're still in the White House, it's the same shit. It's just the same talking points and stuff. And for some reason, Democrats can never get on the same page. I think it's largely because Democrats are actually 2 parties, and it's centrists / Republican establishment Democrats,
liberals, and then
progressives. And that's the problem. And Republicans used to have that issue, and you had the Tea Party, and then you had like the Mitt Romneys and the John McCains who were actual like conservative Republicans, like Republican. What does Bill Maher call them? Republican classic. And you don't really have that. I feel like so many of them have either just said, "Fuck it, if I want to stay in politics, I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do." And then you got guys like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Hawley, who fucking blows my mind. That guy's a thing. And then Gates, obviously.
I will say, I'm not to hard fucking whatever. I saw the note that you put in about Amazon also
about the union.
While we're talking about minimum wage, because aren't they like pissing in bottles and shit on the, you know, somebody I saw on one report that they have to touch a package every 8 seconds. Every 8 seconds,
I
like
see. A lot of people in LA who work here can empathize.
So yeah, and like, or they get docked or they get fucking, you know, written up or whatever, and that's a lot of the reason why they're trying to unionize and why one of the biggest fucking most wealthiest corporations in the fucking world galaxy ever is trying to tell them not to do that and be like, shut the fuck up, piss at your desk, piss on the line.
It's crazy, dude. And then you have, you know, the people who are claiming to be the party of the working people, which is the GOP. They're literally shouting it at CPAC from on top of their giant Nazi symbol stage, which was a whole other thing I don't even need to get into. Look that up though. I'm not making that up. But they're making these claims and shit. But then when it comes to like, hey, like you know, workers want to unionize, they're dead silent. And then it's the classic dudes who've been saying it forever, like, you know, Bernie and shit, who are full on out there supporting workers unionizing
the whole time
fairly and getting treated fairly at work and shit, not getting 2 30-minute breaks the entire day while,
dude,
you know,
2 30-minute breaks your whole day.
Yeah, dude, and like you. And there's other industries too that have like, it's not, Amazon's one of the big offenders, but like all the meat processing ones too. I saw John Oliver did the whole expose on that.
I saw that
a while ago because I read up on it when they had that big outbreak of COVID earlier in 2000.
Yeah, that they tried to deny, right, or some shit like that, or they gave them like $1,500 or some shit.
It's wild, dude. It's wild. These people just getting fucking sick and hurt and injured, and people are left.
Oh shit! Hold on. Mariah said she worked at Amazon for 1.5 years. The conditions are horrible, and no, it's 15 minute breaks. What? Fuck you. No.
Well, real quick. I feel like this is a good segue about people who are overlooked. But before I bring in our first guest, Jen Roman is here to talk about rare diseases and the organization she's an advocate for called NORD, the National Organization of Rare Diseases. I want to remind everybody that right now, if you are on Facebook, please head on over to our YouTube, which is Mainstream Misfits, or follow Santi the Misfit or Dane the Great on Twitch. You can find all those links at failureMadeMonsters.com. The broadcast will continue. Watch the full episode there. But if it cuts off and you're on Facebook, that's why. All right, so let's Twitch. So follow FailureMadeMonsters.com. Head on over to FailureMadeMonsters.com for the links. And YouTube, Twitch, blah, 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 blah. Let's bring in Jen Roman. Jen, how are you, darling?
What's up, buddy? Hey.
Good to see you.
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Yeah. So
I'm kind of waiting for this one.
Say again?
She said she's been kind of
waiting for this one.
Oh yeah.
A good one. It's gonna be a good one. So I see we might be on a little bit of a delay, but I'll let you do most of the talking, which is good because everyone's sick of listening to me yammer on. So I wanted to ask you, Jen. So you are an advocate for rare diseases. Obviously, this is something personal to you. And as I mentioned earlier in your introduction, you're an advocate for NORD, the National Organization of Rare Diseases. I guess the first thing is, could you give everybody who's watching right now a little bit of your backstory and let us know why you got, obviously I know a bit of this. We've known each other for a little while now. And I've watched you go through a fair amount, to put it mildly. But if you could just let everybody know, what's your dog in the fight?
All right. So my dog in the fight, as it were. Basically, 5 years ago, in 2016, I was working full-time as an EMT and absolutely loving it. And one day on the job, I suddenly went completely blind. I called my mom because that's the first thing you do. And basically, I went to the ophthalmologist. They found out that I had papilledema, which is basically where my optic nerves were just completely swollen. They had me go to the hospital, and from there, basically it was a misdiagnosis, a spinal tap, a helicopter ride. That part was cool. And then a very lengthy hospital stay later, I was diagnosed with idiopathic intracranial hypertension. And unfortunately, there's like a huge stigma with that condition.
What's the stigma?
It's mainly basically it's that most doctors, due to very archaic and outdated research, believe that the only people that are impacted by this condition are women of childbearing age who are morbidly obese. I was a physically fit firefighter, so I can honestly say that was not the case.
That is not accurate.
Yeah. So essentially, it really delayed me getting treatment, and it made it really, really difficult to get doctors to take me seriously. And they were doing basically therapeutic spinal taps, like just so we understand like what idiopathic intracranial hypertension is. It's my body's inability to drain cerebrospinal fluid at the rate that it produces it. So it's basically this overproduction. And so cerebrospinal fluid, that's the clear water-like substance that cushions our brain and our spinal cord. It protects us from injuries, but too much of it is a really bad thing. And unfortunately, that is my case. So we ended up going to Johns Hopkins, and they actually have a cerebrospinal fluid disorders clinic where they can actually take care of that. And we tried clinical trials, we did stents, and then I had just shunt surgery after shunt surgery, and we had kind of hoped that eventually.
Wait. What's shunt surgery?
Okay, so basically, I have a ventriculoperitoneal shunt. Basically, what that means
Watch
is
your
I
mouth.
have a.
Don't call me that.
I love you guys. So basically, it's a catheter and valve that is actually inserted into the ventricles of my brain and actually drains the fluid down. It passes through my clavicle and it actually deposits the fluid into my stomach to dissolve naturally. That way, there's no excess buildup and it keeps pulling fluid off. Now, one of the biggest issues that we've had is that there's many different kinds of shunt valves. And they are also very outdated and they tend to fail a lot. And
Which
that
means you have
was
to
one of
undergo
the
surgery
biggest.
every time.
Yes. And
Now, how many
honestly,
times?
that's what brings 10.
Go. Yep.
That's insane.
Shit. Yeah.
I was rocking the side
What up,
shift for a while.
What up, you fucking G? God
She's a
damn.
beast.
Shit,
Yeah, I
I
felt
will
pretty
never.
badass, not gonna lie.
I will never.
No
I will
arguments here.
never bitch. I will never bitch again about all my surgeries and whatever the fuck. I will never. No, not. You're up there. That's a exclusive club you're in.
Yes.
Yeah, I
there
can
are
honestly.
less than 200,000 people club.
Yep. Yeah, it's
That's
the less than 200,000
according to you,
people
when I
club.
learned before we went on air. I didn't know that already.
I didn't either.
Yeah. No, and basically, so rare diseases are actually not that rare at all. There's actually over, I want to say 68,000. And currently in the United States, they're impacting around 30 to 25 million. And worldwide, 300 million.
Wow.
Shit.
So in their own categorical subsets, you know, they're considered rare, but together it's actually many. And
That makes up a large
that's
amount of
why-
people being overlooked.
So what does
Yeah.
NORD do? Do they like do they allocate funds? Is it just for awareness? Like what does their umbrella do, I guess?
So NORD is basically one of the mainstream in the United States for advocating for these for the conditions. Basically, we have state ambassadors.
I just thought that was when whenever I mentioned anime or anything I like, that's what Dane would yell at me in the Peter Griffin voice.
Nerd!
Sorry, I had to.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
No, I love it. That'd be kind of great as a joke. That's kind of great. But
Have that one.
essentially. But yeah, so basically we have like our state ambassadors and we get involved with rare disease coalitions. We're trying to set up an RDAC in the state of New Jersey, which is basically where they're going to take patients, doctors, any kind of scientists, bioengineers, and basically they come together and make legislative differences for people like me who are overlooked. And NORD actually gave me a voice in a time when I was feeling pretty alone, pretty isolated. It's very difficult to relate to anyone when you're in this situation because, you know, I was 22 years old when I first was diagnosed. It was like the shittiest time to be diagnosed.
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone's like, oh, Jen, come party. Oh, Jen, come do this, come drink, come do that. I'm like, I can't do that. I have to shut, like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, so basically finding NORD as well as other patient advocacy groups that really set me up with an opportunity to use my voice alongside others. And we've been doing a lot of amazing work together. And we just finished up Rare Across America Week, which has been really great. I did that through the Rare Disease Legislative Associates. And yeah, RDLA, they're really cool. And basically, we got together, we did some senator meetings, some congressional meetings, and we've discovered
Did you take
that there
Nancy
are a
Pelosi's
lot.
podium?
Come
No.
on.
They're handing them out in the souvenir shop.
I will say this, not a comparison by any stretch of the imagination, but I will say there's something very, very so I actually have Coates disease, which took me a whole journey to figure out. And there's something really touching about something being in place to help people that are going through that. Like, I don't know what this is, or I just found out what this is, and I don't think anybody else really has it. And I don't know what I'm going to, that uneasiness, that anxiety that comes with just having something that, we don't know a lot about this. Cool, sweet. Like having somewhere to be able to go like that. Nothing like that existed when I was diagnosed. I was around, I think I was like 23, something like that. So nothing like that existed. It was just like, yeah, cry and bear it. So really fucking awesome that there's something out there that's actually making headway.
Agreed.
In bringing awareness.
And Jen knows, and her and I have talked about it a bunch. I've had stomach problems my entire life. And anyone who's known me, like our next guest, Mr. Andrew Plotkin, my former tour manager, had to
Plotty McPlotterson.
Plotty McPlot. He's well aware of how far back my my stomach issues go, and they remain largely undiagnosed after multiple scopes and cameras and drugs and
Same here, man.
And tests.
Yeah, your gut's gross.
My shit's all fucked up, dude. So it's been a thing.
Your guts and nuts.
My balls are jacked up, son. No,
I just drank a whole 2-liter Mountain Dew.
Oh. Ready to go, extreme.
Oh shit!
So I'm with Dane on that. It's when
Arya said Santino is always broken with his tummy. Whatever.
It's fucking true. Also, screw you, Arya. Love
Here's
you.
the crazy thing, though. Here's the really, really crazy thing, though. Rare diseases are about to be even less rare, and do you know why?
Why? Please tell me.
Because of COVID-19, actually. One of the things that we found out while we were going through and getting prepared for our meetings is that basically the plan of a lot of the legislative things we were bringing to the table was like establishing a rare disease center of excellence. We needed to basically find an argument as to why we should spend this money and, make it bipartisan and whatever. Sure. But essentially, COVID-19, one of the worst things it actually causes is myocarditis. So that's inflammation of your heart. And
right.
That's been very, very prevalent. And unfortunately, with the rate that we're going, with things not slowing down and with still having so many issues, and everyone's like, oh, let's be
the long-term effects after initial healing.
Mm-hmm. So, like, literally, if we don't get a lot of the funding that we're requesting from our senators, we're going to be pretty screwed, because these are going to be conditions that people are going to have. Like, and it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, like, you're still going to have a condition, still going
Don't be fucking surprised if nothing is done.
God damn it. Yeah. Wow, glass half
empty. Hang on. No. And this is what I'm getting at. Don't be fucking surprised. But damn, Dane, you had to just dig in and not let me finish. Don't be fucking surprised if no one, if anyone's doing this shit, because we have to expect it, because then we have to put on excess pressure.
Yeah. Okay.
You just do, and that goes with most things that should seem like no-brainers, to bring it back. You know what I mean? Just having access to healthcare.
You fucking dick. That was good.
Hi-yo. Just having access to healthcare in general, and some people actually paying attention to the various ailments instead of just brushing things aside and throwing generalized treatments at people for specific ailments, like the overuse of antibiotics for things and other.
Yes. Oh my God, dude.
whatnot. And it's because these things in turn cause other problems that don't get addressed either.
Right.
And they just
I have some
it's
for
a
that.
perpetual cycle. It's a big problem. So you
Literally, one of the biggest issues that we had was doctors. There's this fail first law in the state of New Jersey where essentially insurance companies refuse to cover your treatment if in the event you don't fail off of a specific medication first. Like there is a series you must go in order to qualify for treatment. For me, I was
That's
going
so
completely blind.
broken.
Yeah, and they were like,
Fundamentally.
hey, take Diamox. Hey, take Topamax. Hey, take Lasix. And then basically, all this time later, my kidneys are shot, and we wonder why.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck.
That's so fucked up.
Whew.
Well, I want to ask you one last question before you go, and that's
Sure.
now that people, for everyone in the chat and who's watching this either live or after the fact or listening.
Hi.
Hi. This is Jen Roman, and she's a badass. But we wanted to know, what can other people do to help in your in your fight against? I was trying to think of another way to say it because it sounds kind of like, cookie cutter and shit, but it really is fighting against the powers that be here for shit that just should be like common sense stuff. Like let's look after this. Let's allocate the funds properly for people who need it. There are people. But that being said, what do you think is a good way for people who aren't involved and don't know enough about it? Is there a website you recommend, somewhere they can donate, somewhat other way that they can be an advocate?
There's a couple different places. So firstly, definitely visit the National Organization of Rare Diseases. They have things set up in every single state so you can get involved, because statistically everyone knows at least one person with a condition. So whether you're going as the person who has the rare condition or you're going as a caregiver and you're just trying to support, you can definitely start there. If you are a young adult with a rare condition, I highly recommend checking out Our Odyssey, which I just joined recently. They provide year-round support for young adults, which usually you don't actually see in the rare disease community. Usually we have events that are like spread out like in the very, very beginning of the year and then the very end of the year. And, there's a lot of overlap. Also, I would highly recommend checking in on the people that that have rare conditions. Especially during the pandemic, like
Jen.
Yeah.
keep in mind. What?
Jen, how you doing?
Hey, Jen.
You good?
Hey, Jen. Hey, Jen, how's your
Jen, how you doing? You good?
Hold on. Hey, Jen.
Okay,
How's
how
your
you doing?
day?
We're checking in on you.
Zero couth. Just none whatsoever.
I love you guys.
How's that fluid in your head? How's that?
And is it
Yeah, right.
is it NORD.org or something like that?
Yeah,
or what's
NORD. Yep.
All right.
100%.
So let's double check that.
Can you put links in the thing, by the way?
I'm
Teeners, can you do some fucking work?
I'm working on it. Trying to find the address here. It's not that one. National. Hang on. We're organized, guys.
So, serious question though, Jen.
Rarediseases.org.
What?
Rarediseases.org. I've copied that and pasted it into the chat. So if anybody wants to hop on over there, this is the group that Miss Jen Roman here is an advocate for, clearly with good reason. Jen, is there anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah.
Before we change gears completely.
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. Don't be a dick to disabled people.
Fuck yeah. Can that be the name of the episode?
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Look, don't be a cunt.
Don't be a
Sean Peterson running for Congress.
Don't be a shunt.
All right. Well, Jen, thank you so much.
Don't be a shunt.
Don't be a shunt. You piece of shunt.
You piece of shunt. Love it.
Jen, we love you.
Appreciate you
very much. Keep being a badass. And thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you want, stick around and join us in the chat, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, talk to you soon.
Send nudes. Wait.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jen Roman.
Did you hear that? Did you not hear that? Good.
What?
Nothing.
It's
probably super inappropriate. I should have said it.
That checks out. Yep. You? No. Maybe if with any luck, I talked over it and no one will read your lips. Somebody read his lips for me. All right.
Aria heard it.
Aria hears everything. Dane, behave.
Hey, Aria, how you doing?
It must have been bad. Dane,
Yes,
Behave.
I will.
No, I'm just
Not.
kidding.
I will not.
All right, let's bring in our next guest, a long time, very
Plotkin-
dear
Plotkin-
personal friend of mine,
Plotkin-
a real mensch, as one might say.
I
My
just
old
found out that's a good
manager.
thing, by the way.
What's that?
I just found out that's a good thing, by the way. I didn't know that a mensch was like a good. It sounds like a fucking insult.
Don't mensch in it.
Yeah. Oh, shut
Let's bring in Andrew Plotkin, Mr. Plotty McPlotterson.
You're such a douche.
Oh no, his mic isn't connected. His headphones aren't connected, and no one can hear him.
What? I can't.
No one can hear you. Undo the. You muted yourself.
He's doing a thing. No.
AirPods are disconnected.
You were right.
There he is.
Hey,
I did
Plotty.
mute myself. You were right.
It's all good.
You know, like I was saying earlier, technology. I texted Santino earlier. Hey, can you post Can I put a Facebook post on Instagram?
That's true.
I was like, how do you do that?
So I told
I
you
don't know.
what you want to do is you want to go to the nearest Kinko's. You take your phone, you hook it up to the nearest fax machine, and all you got to do, press the numbers for the wherever you want it to go. Boom, bang, bing.
Oh.
It's there.
What do I do with my carrier pigeon though? I bought one. It was very expensive.
Fuck you both.
See right here, Plot, right here. All right, so real quick, let's give everybody watching, for those of you who aren't familiar with Mr. Andrew Plotkin here. Plotkin and I go back. How long has it been?
2011, January. This is like one of the things. January 21st, 2011, in front of Tammany Hall.
That's the first time we met.
Yep.
Damn.
Or maybe that's our Facebook anniversary. But we definitely met in front of Tammany Hall. I might be combining two things.
It's entirely possible. Shout out Tammany Hall and Dave Delzio.
What's Tammany Hall?
Yeah.
Tim 37.
The Lower East. It was a venue on the Lower East Side where we did a lot of shows.
A lot of great bands there and stuff too.
Gotham Rocks, shout out.
I think I did the Trevor Project.
The Trevor.
Tim number 37. Shout.
Yeah. Which actually our brand Fucking Fantastic donates to, because Tim introduced me to them many years ago. So, which is awesome. So if you get a chance, look up the Trevor Project, advocates for.
Hi, Rollo.
Yeah, you know Rollo.
Oh,
hey, what up,
oh shit. Oh, Rolando. Yo, what up, man?
He said, yo, what up, man?
Rollo, for those you don't know, and you may hear us say his name often, and Aria as well. Rollo.
Hello to your family as well.
Rollo is an old OG.
Aria. I just
fan, Thank you. And Aria was on tour with us as well. Aria was
the first tour I ever went on.
Merch machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first tour I ever went on, my first attempt at tour managing. And I think I was amazed that on the last day of tour, I was able to get you and Tommy and Peter to stay quiet like long enough for I think it was, I got about 4 minutes of logistics in.
Wait, bullshit. How'd you fucking do it? Hold on. I don't fucking believe you.
He said we had to talk business.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck you.
And you know that.
I mentioned, hey guys, listen, here's a way for us to not lose as much money.
Okay, that makes sense. He'll shut up for that. Yeah, that's true.
But unless you tell me I can spend it on something frivolous, in which case, I'll just right out the door. That's funny.
That happened.
So, Plot.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something. Our first tour, that was the Gotham Rocks tour, right?
It was the Gotham Rocks tour.
Your very first tour as a TM, and it was with you were TMing both Scarlet and were they She Said Fire at the time, or the August Infinity still?
No, it was the August Infinity at the time. They? Yeah, that was the August Infinity and us and Another Lost Year.
Another Lost Year.
Yeah. Oh my God. Still one of the greatest front to back bangers that I've ever heard in my life, their debut album. Yeah, no, that was the first tour. I remember it started at the Globe in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I'm 3. Ask me if I remember anything like of use or that could make me money. And no, but I'll remember that outside Birdies in Indianapolis was it was like a few days into that tour was when you just came up to me. You came up to me and you were like, we're going. I'll stop it. You came up to me and you were just like, yo, we're opening for Papa Roach next week in New Jersey and you're coming with us. And I was like, oh yeah, all right, cool. Right. And that was my first taste of the big time. And when I learned what Molly was.
Nice.
Not in the bad way.
That sounds like teeners.
Not in the bad way. My mom
wasn't
me.
Did he put it in the drink? Did he put it in?
Mama Plot's watching right now. Not in the bad way. She probably doesn't even know what Molly is. But a girl came up to me backstage on their crew and she's like, "Hey, do you know where I can find Molly?" And I'm just like, "Who's Molly?"
What?
I honest to goodness had
Are you
no
that
idea.
guy? Are you that guy?
In 2011, it was 2012. 2012.
You're
on.
talking to
I'm
the
a
wrong
good Jewish
guy.
boy. I'm a good Jewish boy from New York City, Dane.
Yeah, all right.
I'm a good Jewish boy from New York City.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, because in 2011, I was deep.
I was a late bloomer in just about everything. I didn't lose my last baby tooth until senior year of high school.
I never lost my baby teeth.
I was later.
Fun fact about me, I still have my baby teeth.
Oh, baby.
In a jar.
Never mind.
No, seriously.
A very change up in beverage from last week, Dane.
Yeah, I got
like 3/4 a bottle of whiskey.
I got a flight at 5:30 in the morning. That's why.
Okay.
I know.
Solidarity. I am not drinking.
Chicago.
I'm not. I drink water and I don't really drink alcohol, but occasionally, I'm a teacher, so I'm subtle, but it's Nevada, it's legal. I might do an occasional crossword puzzle.
Nice.
Oh, easy there.
Crossword puzzle. I don't understand.
Didn't see that? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're not looking at the screen.
Crossword
Get the vape behind the crossword puzzle.
Got it, right, vape. Got it. Yeah.
It's legal there. You're good. So plot.
It's legal. It's legal. I'm a teacher. Who knows?
This is we don't get to talk.
I'll get it. I don't care. We don't.
You're good. You're good. I haven't had any of the guys on yet from Scarlet or August. I'm waiting. I'll bring the boys from Scarlet on when we're getting ready to drop something.
Yeah, we need to fucking do that.
When we're getting ready to drop something new, which we're working on.
Yes.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So that's in the works. But because you're the first one of the crew, other than Clinton, I think we talked about it with Clinton a bit.
The opposite of gym class.
Oh, plot! Come on now.
I can't. It was funny,
Just
but
look
it
at
was
it.
sad.
I might have been second or third to last.
I would
But
have picked you at least second to last.
I can't say shit because on this tour, which I think was in front of birdies as well, we played a game of wiffle ball.
Yep.
Let me rephrase. Yeah, you know what wiffle ball is, Dane?
With the holes in it or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. We were in a parking lot.
The yellow plastic bat.
We were in a parking lot with our all the vehicles and shit we were traveling with and stuff. Small space, like on a corner venue. Like there was nowhere else to go except this just big open parking lot. It wasn't even that fucking big. So I don't remember who bought it, Tommy or one of the guys. Somebody brought a wiffle ball like bat and ball, and that was it. Yeah. And they're all fucking around and stuff. And I can't remember why I decided it was a good idea to take an attempt at it. But two things were learned about me this day. Two things. One was already known and reinforced, and the other was a revelation to all involved, including myself. The first is that I suck at wiffle ball. Hand-eye coordination is terrible. The second is I persevere, sir. I will swing literally over 100 times trying to hit it once.
Wow. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's a metaphor.
What's your
that it's long and thin?
What's your favorite memory from that tour? Out of curiosity, because that shit was a lot. That was a wild little ride we took.
My favorite memory. Oh my goodness. I mean, favorite would be tough to pick. Like most memorable, without a doubt, would be the naked van ride from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Detroit.
Elaborate.
That's not what I expected. I thought we were going breakfast.
Favorite. Okay, I'll actually favorite, and I talked to him in a while. The favorite memory of mine was on the last day of the tour in Lansing. Peter Strzelecki came up. He came up to me, and this is a gentleman who I didn't. I kind of just saw him as a guy who liked to enjoy the adult beverages and be awesome at guitar and not much else beyond that. And he came up to me. I knew he was smart, but he was very something. And he came up to me and was just like, he came up to me. He's like, we couldn't have done this week without you, right? And it was just like the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard from the least expected person to hear it from at that time. Like I fucking love him now, but at that time I was like, Whoa.
Peter's hard to read.
By
That
the
was
way,
a warm and fuzzy. That was a warm and
I
fuzzy.
guess that's the first time I've put myself over on the podcast so far.
Nice. I like
Look,
it.
I'll keep tally.
Peter
It's probably
is
second or third.
very hard to read as anybody who's met him. But deep down,
He's such a dichotomy of
He's
a
just
beautiful
so
human being.
yeah, he's a good dude. And for full disclosure, Peter was my roommate for a long time. I lived with Peter for years in New York and in LA. And he's the one who scored Bully. He was in Crash the Night, the guitar player in Crash the Night when we did that project before, and Rogue Star, which ended up just turning into the music from Bully basically. But Peter's a good dude, man. Shout PJ9K.
Hey, what up,
And
Peter?
Moss on bait. Haven't even mentioned he's in the room begging for me. Moss.
Is he in
Take
here?
Moss is in here.
Where's on bass?
Moss, so many memories.
Yo!
Remember when the trailer busted open while we were driving down the road?
Dude, we had that whole tour. We did what I don't remember what town we were in. Maybe you do, but we woke up one morning and everyone's trying to find out where to go get breakfast, and we ended up at a strip joint, literally right
That was
legs.
right before the Naked Van Ride. That was right
Eggs
before the
and
Naked Van
fucking
Ride.
legs.
And then
That was
but that ended up with half my band on the stage,
Nice.
like
Hey,
trying to like.
by the way, real
on-
quick, don't get it fucked up. When the world opens back up again, fire breakfast at strip club. Fire breakfast at strip club.
Moss,
Depends on where you
our
are.
friend in the chat, Moss. He was like one of the best veggie burgers I've ever had.
yeah,
A strip club in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne.
Also, the caliber,
remember.
Dane, the caliber of women, though, at a
Yo.
strip club in Fort Wayne, Indiana at 11:30 on a Thursday, exactly what you would think. It was like, hey, it's C-section Thursday.
Yeah, that's the B. That's the D string.
No, they were all lovely in their own way. Plot
Those are the bench
They
warmers,
were.
bro. Okay, yeah, all right.
It was
all
Look,
lovely in their own way.
Till you get on
everybody.
a stage,
I try not to judge, and I'm
Yeah.
like the most judging person ever.
I will judge. Take your ass fucking home. It is.
I have my
Oh shit!
black
Ari,
robe and white coat
Plot.
over off to the side.
Peter,
What?
Peter and the finger.
Peter and the finger, Santino.
Tommy.
That's
What's the finger?
I must have blocked
I
that
believe
out.
Tommy was it was Tommy climbing the strip pole, and I think Peter just full on lodged a finger in his ass while he was climbing the stripper pole.
What?
Probably.
He was
Wait,
trying to push
Everything
him up
about
higher.
that sounds like
It's just as ridiculous
believable.
as it
It's a
sounded.
story that yes.
This is no, mind you, this is the same
No,
tour
thank
where
you.
by the end of it,
Everything makes sense.
Rab and people were doing jujitsu in the Florida bar. One of our stages ended up covered in post-it notes with penises drawn all over them. Our guitar player,
Mayhem got his ear piercing caught in
Mayhem-
the amp mid-set and was fucking it ripped out and was bleeding from
our
the ear
old
for
bass
the set.
player, our former bass player in Scarlett Carson. We were playing his place. Was that Blondie's?
That was Blondie's in
That was-
Detroit, yeah.
That was Blondie's in Detroit. Yes.
That was,
We played Blondie. I think it's Blondie's when I told you about Papa Roach, not Birdie's.
okay.
Because that's
Fine,
when
whatever.
that's when I got the call.
Fine,
We
whatever.
were there.
Okay.
I remember that.
Fine.
Yeah, no, we did. So we did Blondie's.
with
Blondie's
B?
had this old the PA system from this place was the old one from like a Metallica tour. So these
Yeah.
giant fucking cabinets on the
Yeah,
side of
yeah.
the stage, like hanging right about here,
Yeah.
like the big curved ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
know what you're doing.
Massive motherfuckers. And our bass player at the time was just blitzed on stage, just shit hammered. And we usually don't. I don't. When it comes to work, like you can have a drink or two, but you got to be
Yeah.
able to hold your shit down.
Yeah.
Anyway, he decided it was a good idea to jump off stage, but he decided to do it sideways and to skip his fucking head off of the cabinet and like ripped, I think, in one of his industrial or some fucking one of his big ass.
It was a bar. It was like one of the barbell
It was
things.
a
I
massive
think.
thing. He's just lying on the floor. To his credit, he kept playing while lying on the floor, just bleeding from the side of his head. And
Oh, that's-
Aria, also to her credit, administered first aid during the whole thing. And then I had to carry his ass downstairs while he's bleeding and puking. That was fun. So-
I have to say,
Well,
there's some things in life that you hear, like regionally, you hear that, oh, this is so bad here, this is so bad there, and you don't understand it. But there's some, like the traffic in LA, like you don't understand it until you've experienced it.
Yeah.
And at that time, how bombed out Detroit was.
Dude.
Wow.
The outskirts of
It was
Detroit
like-
was like a
It was like post Skynet. I remember around the corner from the venue, I saw a teddy bear nailed to a telephone pole.
I mean,
It's like,
it was
what
really
metaphor is that?
surprising because you're like,
Yeah.
this is the
It's
U.S.
It's the death of innocence.
Yeah. It's the death of innocence. A warning sign to any would-be stuffed animals who could dare tread.
Shit was crazy, dude. That was we had a lot of wild times on that little run, and then you afterwards. So Plot, remind me because I know you went out with me as well with Danny and Walmy when I was doing Santino Noir.
When we went to
my solo thing.
spring break. South
Padre
Island. Yeah.
We did that.
I remember that.
Was that the
Machine Gun? That was MGK.
Machine Gun Kelly and Travis Porter. Yeah, it's a fun trip.
I met Big Easy from the Real World, which was Real World Road Rules Challenge, which was
hell yeah, dude. I still follow. We once in a while on Instagram. Nicest fucking dude.
Nicest dude.
Who's the tough guy, Boston guy?
CT. I watched.
Yeah, I love CT.
That is one of maybe 2 or 3 shows. I'm exhausted now in life, but that is one of maybe 2 or 3 shows that I do not like. That I keep up on. CT. He's the man.
CT's a shit. Like even now, he's a shit.
Too. I just remembered this. I saw it this morning. Because I think Plot, you might have met him too.
You drove into emptiness, Moss said. Sorry.
No, you good. Speaking of MGK, because when we were out there, I think I talked to Kelly once the whole time, but we did talk to Slim and Rook, a couple of the guys in his band and shit that work with him and part of EST and all. Super fucking nice guys. And Rook apparently I think got like jumped and hospitalized. I think here in LA, it might have happened. I just saw it. Something recently? About it. Yeah, like I think he's in the hospital right now. And I saw something from one of the dudes in EST posted about it. So I know you have no idea who the fuck I am. It's been like however long, but I hope you feel better, dude, and heal up and shit, because that's super fucked up. But they were all like super nice. We were the openers, you know what I mean? Like when one of the guys from the headliners is cool to the openers, you remember that shit. Because it's sometimes you don't even get like.
Okay, it's been getting a little grimy around LA. Here lately, like with what's her name's dog getting stolen, fucking
Lady Gaga.
Yeah, Lady Gaga. People getting jumped. Like there was a shooting in like WeHo. Like yes, it's like what the fuck, really? Why?
Yeah.
Like, but motherfuckers broke shit.
No, it's a fuck.
Lady Gaga is like part of the prologue to my life in music.
Oh,
she used to open for friends of mine.
The Dirty Pearls?
Shut up, really?
No, Semi-Precious Weapons.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah. And the singer of Semi-Precious Weapons has gone on now. He is a gentleman named Justin Tranter, who is the biggest songwriter in the world, I think, still. Damn. But Lady Gaga in front of like 18 people. My mom, if she's still watching, my mom was there too, and we're watching. She's got long brown hair and like making out with her female DJ and doing the cigarette lighter aerosol can thing, like even when nobody was around. That lady
was she going by Lady Gaga at the time, or Stephanie still?
Yeah, no, she was Lady Gaga at that point.
That's awesome.
That was it. Club Rebel. That was it. What did Club Rebel turn into? Where did you shoot the music? Where did we shoot your music video? Was it still called Rebel?
When there was
on 30th between 8th and 9th. Slate. Okay.
Slake, right?
Yeah, Slate.
Because then we did it because we also shot the other one behind La Esquina down in Little Italy. I shot the second half of the video down there because that used to be like a bunch of different clubs at some point too. The name escapes me at the moment, but yeah, dude, Slake was fucking awesome.
That was Club Rebel at the time, and it was like people who went on to be Lady Gaga, the biggest songwriter in the music industry, one of the best like Neil Young style Americana artists that I know, and Gwen Stefani's drummer and guitarist.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of
my true inspiration for this, the Jew tour manager.
Wait, who?
Shout out to Sean, a gentleman named Sean Hoffman, who actually he works with Bruno. He's tour manages Bruno Mars now.
Amazing.
Speaking of which, you hear Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak are like about to put some shit out?
I did.
I saw the same. Yeah.
And that's,
if I tell you how much of a cocaine-fueled classic that fucking album is gonna be,
no shit.
Holy shit! So he just Anderson .Paak put something on his page, and it's just like a little clip of like Bruno Mars is like strumming guitar, and he's singing something stupid, and Bruno Mars has like these sunglasses on, and they're just in the studio, and you're like, God, I could tell you guys are so fucked up. One of you real fucked up, and it's either gonna be incredible or it's definitely not. But they put out one song already, and somebody was on. Yeah, so it won't be anything in between. It'll be gold, or it'll be like fucking what is this? But they put out a song already, and somebody was I haven't heard it yet, but somebody was like, yeah, it's next to perfect. So
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear it, man. I think they're both
Bruno
obviously
Mars is a talented gentleman.
Super
I can't say I'm too
fucking
familiar with Anderson .Paak, but
Anderson Dotback. Yeah, man. He's been making a lot of movies the last
oh,
few
the
years.
Dot's pronounced. I've seen the name.
Is
and I think
it?
I've even seen him perform, but
Is
I
it
don't think the
pronounced?
Dot's pronounced. Did I
Is it?
just shut you down on a hip hop thing, Santino?
Wait,
I don't know.
I don't think the dot's pronounced. I think it's just that's how.
Oh,
he
I don't know.
pronounces
I just still fucking say it because that's the first time I heard about him was I saw him on a fucking like a poster or something. I think when I was traveling out here.
Yeah.
And then Coco Sarai, a friend of mine.
Oh yeah, I remember that name.
Yeah, stop. You're not the only one listening, motherfucker. Coco's another recording artist I've known for a long time. She's a total sweetheart, super fucking talented. The biggest voice for her size. It's wild, man. She's really, really fucking talented girl. And she works with Anderson, so I just saw his name a lot, but I've never heard anyone. I didn't hear anyone say it. So for the longest time, I was just calling him Anderson .Paak because it's like
6 lakh.
What's that?
6 lakh.
What?
Do you know who Black is?
No.
The singer Black. He spells it 6 LAC.
Oh, 6 lakh.
Everybody call, yeah.
No. Stop.
What? That just don't spell your band name something that is
I can't say
not
shit,
a
dude. My name is
word.
Santino.
Yeah.
I'm fucked from jump.
I granted, I apologize. I just said that to Dan the Great. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but if you flip like the parts of your name, that's like the name of a dog.
No way.
I don't know if you knew that.
Are you serious? Shut the fuck up.
Blowing people's minds, Plot.
Fuck you.
I
No
know.
way.
So
I know we've only officially just met, but it feels like we've been Facebook friends for hours. So
hours.
True. I love that though. I love when like guests come on the show and first like they add me before they come on the show, and I'm like, oh, thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
I just realized after a
what
month,
can I say? You're a girl. I'm trying to slowly get into. I'm trying to slowly slide into those DMs.
Sliding in.
Put in there, bro.
Plot. Just getting off the rails, girls.
What?
Plot, real quick. Let me ask you
sir.
something. After, so we have more stories. We can go on all night, but I'm more curious about the shit I don't know a lot about. Right.
Okay.
So for the stuff that I wasn't around for. So I remember you worked with two other pretty prominent artists. I mean, not as prominent as me, obviously.
I
I'm
don't think there
the
is
biggest
anyone
deal ever
as
to
prom-
be.
There's no one as prominent as Santino. Just ask him; he'll tell you.
It's true.
That was good.
No, but so after me, I can't remember what the order was, but was it? I know you worked with the two other bigger artists that you spent a fair amount of time with were the Dreamers, right?
Yeah, Dreamers.
And then Adam Gontier, the singer of 3 Days Grace, former singer of 3 Days Grace.
Yeah. Dreamers, I spent the longest time with. I was with them for a couple of years. It was a couple of years, I think, almost a couple of years. But during that time, I met them through a friend of a friend, and their manager hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, we're going out on a 3-month tour. Do you want to, will you come?" And so I met these guys, and we go out on tour. And 2 weeks into that tour, this is a band who was playing like tiny ass venues on the Lower East Side. Nothing. We're in a van, and they get a call halfway through the tour that they have to drop off for the middle month to go open for Stone Temple Pilots.
I remember that
with Chester Bennington.
Singing instead of Scott.
Yeah, singing instead of Scott. Scott was still around, but Chester was singing with them.
Yeah.
And that just.
I saw you then when you hit the House of Blues down in Anaheim.
Yep, and about 4 hours prior to that, I watched Dreamers sign their contract with Walt Disney's record company on a trash can with Hollywood Records on a trash can in Disneyland.
That's amazing.
That's so fucking dope, though.
Isn't it a great the story alone is worth
it? A cool ass move.
Yeah, I've got too many stories, and yet I'm too lazy to write anything.
Fucking your pussy's showing.
Real quick,
I think that's a poor tie dimple, Santino.
No. I think your cat was popping into the shot in the back.
Oh.
He's like, oh.
That's Draven.
Hi, Draven.
Hey, Draven. Hey, Draven. Isn't that a name for something?
Look behind me, Dane. Look right here.
Did we just become best friends?
You did.
I think so.
Holy shit.
And I got the font. The font from the poster is part of one of my tattoos.
It's true.
It's a whole thing.
It's an Yes.
Chris goes, show us the cat.
Hold on. Oh, wrong way. Why is my camera? No, this is the right way. Draven.
That's so dope.
He's busy not
He's busy
doing
telling
anything.
you to fuck off with his
Dude, I
eyes.
will-
He's busy telling me to fuck off with his eyes. Unless when I
plug my
come back
guitar
through
in.
the door, and then he leaps to my chest and into my arms. No
That
bullshit.
checks out. So I wanted to. So on the thing with the Dreamers, real quick. When you went out the first time, had you been on the road with anybody else before that, or was it just our tours? I actually don't know if I've asked you.
It was in between. It was actually I went out. Tommy, the guitar player, and for Scarlett Carson.
Shout one of my best friends on the planet.
Tommy, I love you and I miss you. He was with Dive at the time, and he just called me up and he's like, "Yo, we're doing a run down south. You're coming with us," and that was pretty incredible in a lot of ways. Just because I knew Tommy, but I didn't know the other three guys.
Yeah.
And then
I know
met
Johnny
them.
and the guys we played with them a lot. I don't know who was in the lineup at the time, but obviously Johnny.
It was Johnny. It was Tony Colosi, the gentleman with the bigger dude with the bald head, and Will Lewis.
Gotcha.
This guy. I met everyone. Let's say it was a Tuesday. I drove out to Jersey with Tommy. I met everyone on a Tuesday, and yada yada. The next show we drive to North Carolina for the first show of the tour. Yada yada yada. Tommy decides that he doesn't want to be on tour anymore. And then I'm like looking around at three dudes I don't know. I'm like, that I've just met yesterday. I'm like,
I live with you now.
All right, I live with you now, and I'm running your shit. And it was really cool to meet you yesterday. And maybe I also don't know what I'm doing.
And then you parlayed that into the Dreamers.
That jumped into Blame Shift.
Oh, that's right.
That because Dive and Blame Shift were on tour at the time. So Dive, it was August Infinity, Scarlett Carson, and you guys. Dive. Oh no, you solo were after. Dive, Blame Shift, Super Bob, Dreamers.
Matt and the guys in Super Bob.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt doing his Matt's working with wood. Matt's working with a lot of wood down there.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, what you did there.
Great.
They were shout out to them for being a band that just knew for so many years they just were successful touring musicians, and that was how they supported their families.
Yeah. Incredibly difficult to do, man. And they're just all good dudes, especially Matt, man. I'm a big fan of his. Bitch.
Bitch.
You know. All right, so let me ask you.
Know. I want to know.
He just ends every Facebook post with bitch.
Bitch. Okay. All right.
It's fantastic. Bitch. So Plot, let me ask you. So all right, so you did Dive, Blame Shift. Did we peak in ridiculousness with the first Scarlet tour, or did you have a fair amount of other experiences like that with the other bands you were at? And if so, are there any that you can share?
I mean, there's personal experience. There was a time I had to drive the band van this was with Dreamers. This was at the break when we had to get from Pittsburgh to Seattle in time for the Stone Temple Pilots tour. And the band, most of the band flew out to practice. I flew out to Seattle, and I was driving the band with their then drummer from Pittsburgh to Seattle. And this was a really old piece of shit van. And as soon as we got to the drummer bailed in Cleveland and flew out. And then from Cleveland to Seattle, I drove, and this was just a rickety old something. And I immediately took it to a mechanic in Seattle, and he said, if I had known this was the condition of the van when you left Pittsburgh, I would have put money on what part of Pennsylvania you would have broken down in.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And that was like, I'm in like the hills of Montana, knowing that like I'm driving, the world's most unstable pumpkin carriage.
Oh, dude, I know that feeling. Well, you remember the old Scarlet van with the hole in the floor?
Yep. Oh, goodness.
No in the back, rusted hole through the middle of the
floor. Love those winter drives down
like a piss hole?
No, like it eroded. And there was no piss hole, but there would, if you had a trailer, if your bus or van also had a trailer, you usually had a Bing bucket in there for private fun.
Nice.
A Bing bucket, baby wipes.
VIP, I see.
Back in the day.
Very
Yeah,
important.
but no.
Or poop.
It was a quick turn. It was a quick turn. Like Dreamers, going back to that first Dreamers tour, like kind of going out with a band, just three different, regional bands on this tour. And to immediately 2 weeks into that flip to, they're being signed by Hollywood Records and going to open for Stone Temple Pilots. It was a incredibly quick 180 that at the time, I probably wasn't prepared for, but definitely rolled into it.
Like a damn champion. Of course you did. Of course you did.
Not always. I mean, this is called
very
failure made. This is called failure made. So I've had plenty of that. But
you made monsters, baby.
made monsters. I'm not just because I've webbed toes. That doesn't make me a monster, Santino.
I mean, you say that, but
I mean,
yeah, everybody else does. I know.
Yeah. So after Dreamers, you went out with Adam. How long were you out with him?
I was out with Adam Gontier from 3 Days Grace. He was doing a solo acoustic tour. That was about a month, and of just rolling around in an Escalade, him and me. I met him. I flew into an airport in Rochester, and went to the rental car counter. And then this guy comes walking up, and it's like, "Oh, hey, I'm Adam," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Plotkin. Nice to meet you. Let's go drive for 10 hours to the Quad Cities."
So interesting.
So that was, I was like, I used to jam out to your songs and you were on my wall, and
for real.
Yeah, let's go drive.
Yeah. Gontier is
shit's pretty surreal.
Fucking awesome. How long were you out with him?
That was fun. That was a month. It was a few weeks in the US and then a few weeks in his homeland north of the border. Where that was a good time. Toronto, I spent Thanksgiving with the jellyfish at the Toronto Aquarium. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
That's dope.
Things were legal in Toronto then too.
For some reason, like I don't know, like if I couldn't see you, I'd be like, so you legally ate a jellyfish for Thanksgiving?
Right?
I definitely, Santino, I'm all about the wording.
Just stitching them together.
Because somebody say, "What did you do for Thanksgiving?" The new Vin Diesel movie. What did you do for Thanksgiving? Jellyfish at the jellyfish.
Jellyfish at the aquarium with Adam Gontier in Toronto.
Yeah. No, Adam wasn't there. Adam spent most of that time. He was with family. He had just lost a close friend. So the time in Toronto, the time in Canada, Toronto was our hub city for 5 days because it was close enough. Every venue was close enough that he could just drive to family and friends.
Yeah.
Cool. I just chilled in a hotel, which is pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's got to be a fun experience. It's still work. Don't get me wrong, and I know that. And you bust your ass when you're on the road. But it's a
long monthly work day.
Yeah, no, for sure.
3 month work day.
I feel bad for you, man, because like you fucked up and started out with us, and I think what happened is we just kind of like, some people start out with like a HP bar. Right? I think we just knocked you down.
Dane, what does HP stand for?
What is what?
What does HP stand for?
Huge penis.
Huge penis?
Oh, okay.
Why
wouldn't you just say like BB?
Harry Peter?
Harry Peter. Chat,
Harry
what does
Harry Potter, I'm gonna
chat, what does HP stand for?
So all right, it's
why would you say LD anyway?
Plot. So you started out with this, and then you toured with us, and at the same time, the August Infinity, and at the same time, another Lost Year. I feel like we just took you down to dangerous levels, and then you just it comes back a bit, but you go back out, and then you end up with the dive situation where Tommy leaves you and all that, and just keep doing it. So I think you I feel like you got all of it out of the way early with us, and then all right, fuck it, I did my thing. Like it's time to hunker down and like not live.
I felt like I'd earned my stripes
with a shit and piss bucket in a trailer.
Yeah, I felt like I'd earned my stripes a little bit.
1,000%.
It was cool. The Stone Temple Pilots thing. Props, big shout out to Dreamers, Mark, Nelson, Jacob, and Chris at the time. What did you say?
They're crushing it. They just did that track with the grandson, who I've been a big fan of for years. The dude, he's actually from Jersey.
Nick's an amazingly talented songwriter. I haven't talked to the guys much anymore. We had one of those like when I left, or at least with their manager, it was like when I jumped to gun, or when I said, "Hey, I've got this opportunity for Gantier. I'm only going to miss like a week of the next tour. Is that cool? And that kind of ended things with Dreamers. But it was like one of those. It was like one of those with you and Scarlett Carson at the time. It's like when you're young and you're like close and you're hurt because
you need the money.
Dreamers. Dreamers. I was as close with in some ways as I was with you guys and with Joshua and Chris and Peter.
You become family real quick.
You tell someone I love you on day 2 and you mean it with everything that you have.
Yeah.
And Dreamers especially because they were just like playing pianos on the Lower East Side when I started with them, and 2 weeks later they're massive, getting signed by Hollywood, and I'm getting to have multiple one-on-one conversations with Chester Bennington, who was the man who was literally on my wall as a teenager. And not to date myself, but I downloaded on Napster the original version of Hybrid Theory. Another amazing front to back album. But yes, I remember Napster.
Phenomenal album.
Phenomenal record. That shit, that style of like new metal and rap rock and stuff has been one of my all-time favorite genres. And
well, it's because when we were in high school, elementary school age.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, they came. They changed the game.
Has a core with it.
And Meteora,
Some 41
best sounding records in like a car of all time with a good system. That's right. That shit just hit.
Brad did that those drums in Faint. Brad did that in one take.
It's
ridiculous.
No, those guys are fucking. It's a shame what happened. It really is, because I would love to hear more from them. But it's awesome. You got some time with them. I never got to meet Chester, but I've heard I have people who know him, and I've heard nothing but good things. Like it just seemed like
it was amazing. I mean, night 1 in Seattle, we were trading John Wick quotes with each other just in the hallway. And kind of over the course
of Aria's leaving, but she says she loves us and she misses you.
Oh, Aria,
love you, Ar.
Chester, getting to know Chester and Rob from Stone Temple Pilot, one of the bass player from Stone Temple Pilots. Like, it was weird. The first night, the opening night in Seattle, I was standing side stage while Dreamers, I think they opened with Waste My Night, and I'm side stage, and touching my each shoulder is Chester Bennington and Rob DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots. And I'm not necessarily someone who has succeeded in a lot of things at life.
Bullshit.
So prior to that moment, prior to music. Let me put it that way. Prior to music.
Depends on your definition.
Well, I mean, if
by that definition,
being a good human being is success, hell yeah. If like actually achieving any sort of success is success, no. But it's one of those moments where you're like, why am I here? How is this happening? It was very surreal. But Chester, I apologize for breaking this news, Ari. Once the tour kind of got into the flow after the first week, I had a habit of going to have a cigarette. I was a terrible man and smoked at the time. I would go have a cigarette while Dreamers was on stage. And oftentimes Chester would be out there by himself. And that was like, we would talk. I remember one particular conversation in Philly where he was talking about his family, and like he had a daughter. One daughter was about to graduate from college, and one daughter was about to start 3rd grade, I think. And he was a man who loved his family. And like when I say, I'll say I had a friendship with Chester, and I have a couple more details for that. But it's like it's music. It's you form an incredibly deep bond with somebody very quickly, and then you don't talk for however long. But I will say he did. After the fact, a couple years after the fact, like he went to bat for me. He was like, "Hey, here's our tour manager. Contact him." The tour manager's like, "Hey, next time you're in LA, here's the manager." And nothing came to fruition, but that was enough for me.
Just like just showing that you're a good, caring, decent person who doesn't need to be, because you are who you are. It just shows it's like a core. It's a core of you kind of thing. A lot of people lose that part of them when they don't need people as much anymore, unfortunately. I
remember Rob DeLeo, the bass player from Stone Temple Pilots, first night of the tour, he said, when we were talking, he said, we're not about egos and bullshit. Let's just go have some fun and play some rock and roll. And
yeah,
Rob and Dean DeLeo, the songwriters for SDP, or the music songwriters, I should say, they're from Jersey. And
that's a very Jersey rock and roll scene kind of fucking thing. And I know I have a massive ego about shit, but it was just more about controlling the perception in the business and stuff, just because everything was on a razor's edge all the time trying to make stuff work. But like, as far as like me thinking I was better than people and that kind of bullshit, like I left that in a past life or some shit, because that's never been the case. You know what I mean? I've been the heavyset goofy dude who got a chance to be on stage and do dope shit. And I always said I'd end up like, I want to be guys like, when, you know, I want to hear stories about me the way you're telling stories about people when, you know, whenever I kick it and shit. Cause that's just, I just think it speaks to the core of a human being. You know what I mean? Like when you're still decent after the fact and you do shit because you just love it. And when you see that in somebody else, it resonates and you want to do something about it and them too and see them succeed, you know?
Yeah.
Not enough. Just not fucking enough of that.
No,
there's not. It was unreal. I remember night 2 of the tour in San Francisco. I got called into their tour manager and production manager's office, and they're just like, Chester would like to cover your guys' hotels for the rest of the tour. Here's our travel agent's info. You know, tell her what your preferred, you know, tell her what your travel schedule is like and what cities you want to stay in, and she'll take care of it. And like, you know, you get that message through the tour manager. What, Eamon, shout out, miss you, love you, see you soon. But later that night at Loadout, I saw Chester having a cigarette, and I went up to him and I was just like, hey man, I just wanted to thank you. That was, you know, it's like probably $4 or $5 grand out of his pocket, and it's like on a whim on dudes he just met. And I was like, thank you. That's really incredibly nice of you. And he put his hand on my shoulder and said, hey, I remember what it was like. I know what tour managers have to go through. I know you need this more than they do. And that, like,
that's cool.
It's just really something when someone, you know, they do say don't meet your idols, but like,
I've had a few of those.
That was a beautiful, you know, Sam, that was some
of them go wrong.
You with and then, you know, you and like Jacoby. But like, it's, you know, it's those moments that you're just like, why?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome, man. I love to hear that. I honestly, we'll just do a short version of this. That's a great story to go out on. But I do want to touch on the fact that you're now teaching in Las Vegas, which is fucking awesome. And you show me, you sent me a video.
And as my grandmother used to say, depressingly single.
Depressingly single.
Bro, there's no such thing. Trust me. You're good.
What's up, lady?
It's all a matter of perspective, right?
All a matter of perspective.
It's all a matter of perspective, guys.
Grammy Flat was the best.
It's all a matter of perspective.
I've got I'm good. I've got my angel and my devil on, you know, I got my grammar textbook on one shoulder and Spider-Man bronco riding or taking liberties with a T-Rex, depending on your interpretation of the stuff.
Like the opening picture of this.
That's all I need.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Shit. But how's Vegas treating you all right?
Vegas is great, man. I'm really, you know, moving out here was from New York, where I'd lived for almost all my life, was one of the toughest things I had to do. And it really feels like I finally had my woe is me story, is that I finally got to the point where I wanted to be, which was just like kind of steady teaching. And then COVID happened, and because my steady teaching, I want to be a substitute. So that work kind of dried up, but that's come back and I'm liking it. I'm finally getting to a nice rhythm out here. And it's nice. I always say that I got into music about 5 years too late, because I wanted to, even by the time I was with you guys, I just wanted to go to bed. I'm like, are you done playing yet?
Same. You know that about me too. Like especially if I had to sing the next day, if we were on tour, you know, dude, I got my own food. I got up early. I went on a run. Like I did the fucking thing. It's work, you know, but it's exhausting. And then part of you wants to go out and have a good time and shit. But the other part of you is like, I'm old and everything hurts. You know, Dane knows that one. I'm old and everything hurts.
You know,
well, Black don't crack. Dayton might be like 82.
He is.
Who knows?
It's true. He's a vampire, full on. So.
I am.
He's got all the good genes working for him.
I did want to mention Mariah said something that was pretty fucking cool, and in a perfect world, that would be the shit.
Santino, just imagine you, Chester, and Dane make a single with Plotkin managing the tour. Boom.
Fuck.
That's
Boom.
One of those dreams.
That's the EP. That's the EP. Boom.
Yep.
Shout out to She Said Fire.
Shout out.
But no one
I
Santino
always
he
said-
make boom and or what's it? What's the word?
And,
You know,
and
when each letter means something.
an acronym. An acronym. But it's
Acronym.
an acronym has to spell out a real word though. So yeah, boom would be one. Acronym has oh god, that makes me think of that David
What is it if
Caruso
it doesn't
movie.
spell out a word?
Wait, what?
Well, an acronym specifically, like it stands for something, but it also spells out a real word.
And what is
Right.
it? Just
Um,
initials.
Versus just like the initials of
Be a
a
word.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like this.
yeah, I'm saying, like BAD, balls, attitude, direction.
Yeah, there you
Shout
go.
out to Nicolas Cage in
Or what's
Kiss of Death,
the-
1995.
Something, right? What would you call that? Is there another word for that?
What?
For what?
Like
Another word for what?
doesn't spell a word, but it's
The CDC. It's the abbreviation of the company.
That's an abbreviation.
This is like Dane. I texted him on Santino last week. I remember he was talking about GameStop, and when you guys were talking about GameStop and Bitcoin,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
were trying to use the word, you were like supersede, and you're like, that's not the word, that's not the word. And I grabbed my phone and I texted you because I don't know about chatting or twitching. I grabbed my phone and I checked Santino. I'm like, usurp.
Usurp. You know what happened? Hey, you know what happened in the middle of the episode? I heard a little like, just a little. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I looked, and there was a pigeon with a
That's what
note
You're
strapped
dumb.
sitting outside my window. It was really bizarre.
You're so dumb.
Very, very, very strange. And for some reason, that pigeon had one of those giant margarita glasses that you find on the strip.
Yeah, wearing a fucking floral Hawaiian shirt buttoned up.
Yeah, Senor Frogs. Fucking.
One thing I definitely want to make sure I get to say, because this actually piggybacks, it ties completely into your first guest, Jen, and rare diseases and my life and my
Hey,
friends
Jen.
and the people I met at Hollywood Records, which is that a gentleman, John Nicholson, who was Dreamer's radio promo rep. He has a son who's currently suffering from a rare disease. This is basically me wanting to put over a couple links to add to YouTube for really good friends or for really good gentlemen. And then a gentleman by the name of Casey McPherson, who sung for this band Alpha Rev, who has a foundation as well. But yeah, wow. How about that? How about that segue? Huh? How about that?
Smooth
Again,
as butter.
to reiterate, just check on your friends if they're
Check on your friends.
whatever. Check on. Hey Jen. How's your brain?
Mental health is real.
And how's your brain?
Santino can know that I can attest all too well. Mental health is real.
It's
yeah.
important. Obviously, very important.
I met this summer.
If not for
summer
this
that I
show,
met-
if not for this show, I feel like both of us would have probably committed some heinous act. Me
Correct.
and fucking Cynthia
Correct.
randomly punch somebody in the face.
Just straight
Walk
up
in the
knock someone
mailbox,
the
fuck
fuck out.
you.
You see more people than I do, but yeah.
I do.
Babe, run. I'm just kidding. Love you.
Hey, Kirsty.
Oh, hey, love. It's pot.
Leave your voice once in an episode.
That's for me, please.
Shit, man. All right, well, Plotty Plot. It is always an absolute pleasure. I love you very much, man. It is great to see you, to catch up with you. I look forward to seeing you in the fleshy flesh, right in the fleshy bit.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
so when
indeed.
I'm gonna be in Vegas in a few weeks, so we need to talk
I
about
listened
that.
to. Oh, dude, hell yeah! We need to fucking just watch The Crow together.
Dane's like, I had this shit already. We're good.
Watch The Crow and hold each other.
I will do it. I don't care.
But no, I do want
I
to say
don't care what it means about me.
I'm not too savvy, but I know enough about the likes and the tweets, and that it's all about the follows. So if you want to follow me, I'm usually walking around places. So if you just kind of get behind me and just move in the same direction that I am, you'll have no trouble following me.
Hang on. I need a soundboard immediately and a
What?
I knew it was there.
I was like, wait a minute, where's he going?
I told you it was the worst joke.
That's why I love you, Plot. That's why I
I'm not
love
mad
you.
at it.
Yeah, if you like an Instagram picture once every 6 months, at
Nice.
simply_Plotkin, like the plot of a movie, and kin, like a hillbilly's family.
Set on the screen right there, bam.
Not
Going after it right now.
and
And it's actually the word simply.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Simply, because how do you describe someone who has Spider-Man riding a T-Rex? He's simply
fucking champion.
Plotkin.
That's how I describe
Simply
him.
Plotkin.
Fucking champion. And one of my closest and dearest friends. And I realized I just got to say this real quick too, because we somehow managed to go the episode without even saying his name, and that's a travesty. It's not allowed. Big shout out to our mutual friend, Mr. Joshua Hawksley, as well.
Joshua Hawksley.
Joshua, we gotta get him on the days too.
Who I know for a fact will be listening to this.
Is the reason I know
and
you.
watching afterwards. He's the reason he was there when we met outside of Tammany. He introduced us.
He sent us
And
an email when we were in Scarlet to try and put a show together, and that's how that whole thing started. It was just him reaching out to us, and then we booked a gig, and then I met a whole slew of amazing human beings as a result of it, and ended up moving to New York and everything. So shout out to Joshua Hawksley. Love that motherfucker. Plot. I love you, man. It was good catching up with you. I'm really happy.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
Stay safe, all right, dude?
I will. Dane.
I followed you on IG. We're gonna get together when I'm in Vegas.
It can't rain all
We're
the
gonna
time.
hump each other like that Spider-Man dinosaur combo going on in the background. It's gonna be glorious. Please do it on a live broadcast.
Gross.
I know no other way, Santino. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Plotty plot.
Thank you, Dane. I love you guys.
Later, buddy.
Love you, bro.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. Big shout to our guest, Jen Roman, advocate for rare diseases. She's with NORD, so check out rarediseases.org. And a big shout, obviously, to our boy Andrew Plotkin, my former tour manager and the #1 star in all of our hearts. So thank you guys so much. And obviously,
wait,
Mr.
real quick.
Great,
I have a little bit of
are traveling.
Yes. So I'll be in Chicago tomorrow, and tomorrow at 4:00 if you're in Chicago, or if you happen to see this before 4:00 tomorrow, I will be at the Juice World mural. And if you pull up with a mask, you can be in my next music video.
That's what's up right there. So good luck with the shoot. Break a leg, as they say.
I've done it before.
Yeah, you fucking have. We'll have to talk about that on here one day.
One day.
You got video and pictures and the whole fucking thing. You did a music video about it. There'll be a thing. Yeah. So, dude, safe travels. Obviously, it should be good to go home, but be safe and stay warm and all that shit. And again, big thanks to our guests. If you guys are new listeners or viewers, thank you guys so much for tuning in and checking us out. This is Failure Made Monsters. You can go to failureMadeMonsters.com to find a link to our YouTube, the Mainstream Misfits channel. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, or follow Santino the Misfit or Dane the Great on Twitch, preferably both. Preferably do all of those. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram and all that jazz. But if you want to watch this, it's YouTube and Twitch. So check it out, FailureMadeMonsters.com. And if you want to listen to the audio-only version, available on Spotify and Apple and all that happy horse shit, FailureMadeMonsters.com as well, with all the links. So that's where we're at. We will see you next Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's how time zones work. Hey. So stay safe out there. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Big shout again to our guests and to our listeners, and we love you. We're outie.